Cardiff City phone in once again, and Cardiff City are once again back at the top of the league, which is great to see. Quite an amazing match on the weekend, actually. We got Mickey Villan and Tony Rivers, who have been friends for a long time, and big City fans, as everybody knows. With us tonight, they both travelled up, I think, on the same bus, not necessarily sitting side to side with cheese and onion sandwiches, but they were with each other, enjoyed the day. Yeah. And Aled Hopkins is back with us again, the aspiring journalist. So good to have you on. There's loads to talk about. I'll tell you what, I'll come to you, Tony, first, because we were just talking there just before we went on, and I saw your comment about it, and obviously a 2-1. If Nathan Trott doesn't make that incredible save, I mean, that's a goal, wasn't it? It's a crazy save. If that had gone in 2-2, who knows what happened? But you were hinting about, even though we won 3-1, we're top of the table. That's great, that's fantastic. But if I can quote you, you said you're a bit concerned, said you have a bit of a soft underbelly. So do you want to talk about that?
I think so. I think people have been picking up on it for a while, and we've played some lovely football this season, obviously. Sometimes I think, we may be a little bit too overcritical, but I thought some of the unforced errors Saturday, the one leading up to Trott's save, should never have been in that predicament. For their equaliser, it was pretty poor defending. Like I said, I don't want to be overcritical because Murphy made the subs at the right time. I don't know so much about Turnbull, but I thought Alex Robertson, he more or less changed the game when we moved Capaccio up further up the pitch, which I'm not sure we haven't done that much this season, have we? But it does look a nice option.
I love him up front, up that end of the pitch. Yeah,
definitely. I know. I know. Go on, Mike.
Sorry,
Mike.
No, I thought Capaccio was outstanding on Saturday. Absolutely outstanding. As I say, 2 assists. His strength, his sort of his balance. He's. I know I watched him against Wales. I think it was down the stadium down west. He was on the box, and he had a bit of a nightmare. But on Saturday, I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah, 2 assists, Mickey, really, didn't he? Pretty well. He had 2 assists, didn't he? I think didn't he have both assists? Goal, yeah. That's got to say something, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's when he went up in the second half, he must have had 4, maybe 5 forages where they just couldn't get the ball off him. And 2 or 3 times he'd lost possession, but then he won it back, and with his determination, which is great. And he, like in the first half, I thought he may, defensively he'll improve, but it's still a little bit of weakness to his game. But in the final third and in their half, he's been a revelation. I mean, like you said, with the 2 assists, and he's done that a few times this season. I mean, very similar. Somebody like Terence Trent, Alexander at Liverpool. Trent, Alexander. They were, people weren't too enamoured by his defensive role at right back, wing back, but when he moved forward, that was when you've seen the best game, and hopefully we'll see that now with Capaccio, and there's obviously with Ruben being out, probably for a few weeks, a month or two.
Plenty to talk about there, isn't there?
We've got there's something for him to maybe utilise.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll come to Alan and I'll come back to Mickey. But Steve Thomas is talking about that. And on that very topic. So I'll ask you, Alan, your thoughts on this. As we're already talking about, a few people saying Capaccio best used as a winger with NG behind him. I personally would totally agree with that. The other part of it as well, I think, is he's still 18, isn't he, Ronan Capaccio? I think he is. I don't think he's 19.
Yeah, 18 or 19.
So he's a kid. He's a youngster. So he's gonna make mistakes. And the way we play, we're kind of quite open at the back. So I wonder if maybe also takes a bit of the pressure off him, taking him further up the pitch. If he doesn't make a mistake up there, it's not going to be crucial,
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of do like him in that right wing back role, and I think it depends on the system that you're playing. Because if you push him upfield and you want that winger role to be a kind of, I guess, inverted winger where they're cutting inside, and usually if you'll have a left footer on the right hand side and a right footer on the left hand side. So it'll be interesting now with Ruben out, and we don't know how long that's going to be for. Just looking at Chris's comment there, any update on the Ruben injury? I haven't seen anything today in particular. I think some people are saying it could be like a month or so, but then reading into Brian Barry Murphy's tone in his interview, I think it's probably going to be longer than that. So I've seen some people say, are they going to push Kellyman inside into Ruben's role because he's more of that kind of direct attacking threat, and then maybe Capaccio goes in on that right hand side. But I think he's been outstanding at right wing back. I'd keep him there if I was Barry Murphy. In all honesty, because I think for such a young kid, he's looked like a seasoned professional so far this season. He's been outstanding.
So it's interesting with the substitutions, though, and the BBM's making. So he brings on NG, who's more of an out defender, even though he plays fairly, forward. There's a bit of defensive nous with NG, so it's not a bad combination, is it, to have those two battling out down the right?
No, exactly. Yeah, I love NG. I think he's like a cheeky scouser, isn't he? He comes on, you know what I mean? He winds it up, doesn't he? You can see. He's pinching, he's pulling shirts. You know what I mean? He's like a cheeky scouser who. I love it. I think
he's got a bit of steel about him as well, which we need. Well, we discussed about the soft underbelly. I think having him, like, and what Ali just said now about moving Ronan up further could really help.
Do you think that, Mickey, do you think the fact that Ruben's going to be out for a while, and I'll talk a bit more about Ruben later on, it's funny how we're all really concerned about him, because he's one of these people that people say, oh, what does he do, la la la, he still gets criticism, even though I think he's going to be an outstanding player. Is there an argument now, maybe because he's going to be out, for maybe varying the formation and trying things a bit differently? Or would that be just jumping too far?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. It could be an opportunity for one of the other youngsters to step in. I can't remember his name. He played against Cheltenham Town. I think he played against. I think he played a bit further back in centre midfield. A young kid. I thought he was outstanding. He was. I know I go more balance, but his balance and he took players on. I can't remember his name. He's a Cardiff lad, he is. Do you remember Tone? Young lad in midfield?
Louis Giles? Or I'm just looking at the team who played that game.
No, it's not Louis Giles, no. Definitely not.
Mafiko?
I think he's 16 years.
Wow.
Mafiko done well, didn't he?
But I said, with Ruben out, it'll give him opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, like before, probably.
That's him. Yeah. Him.
It's
yeah.
No, obviously it's disappointing, and everybody was gutted seeing Ruben limp off. I don't know what that pantomime was to bring them back on, trying to run it off, because but that's another question. But losing him obviously is disappointing, but there is a bet, because look what we had on the bench. We got bringing a League One side which got the luxury of bringing on Alex Robertson. Is embarrassment of riches, really, isn't it? But we've just got to utilize that and move on, because like we got six home games out of the next 8.
That's right.
I think we got a chance now to move forward.
Yeah,
there's still a lot of Cardiff fans still scratching their heads. Are we top? But it's probably just because the standard in the league, and like I said, we may be a little bit overcritical at times. But I think we got a chance now, and if we can get some at Stevenage in a couple of weeks, and then just pick up these wins at home, I think in January we'll be looking really healthy.
So we got to put a run together, Tony, haven't we? Really, because that was our first away win since September. But we've had some good moments away from home. I was surprised when I found that out. But I thought we played with a lot of pace, and we kind of went for the throw from the start, which was nice to see. Because first half sometimes we can be a little bit kind of half-hearted. What we now have, going back to what we said about the home games, just looking at them now, we got Mansfield coming up, and then we got Wimbledon in the cup. We got Huddersfield, Doncaster. They just keep on coming. The Chelsea game, of course, Exeter, and then Stevenage. It was an incredible run of home games.
Stevenage away is a big one.
The chance, isn't it?
Yeah. It's disappointing when Ruben went off, and not just that, because he was first 20 minutes he was pulling the strings, wasn't he? You could see how confident he was, after his recent time with Wales, and he was strutting around. We probably would have been with him. I think we probably would have been 2-3-0 up by half time if he stayed fit, but then an hour after he went off, the game just went then, didn't it? It was like we were dragged back into a dogfight, which we've got to start getting used to and got to start dealing with.
So Mickey, with Ruben, do you find it a bit odd that a lot of City fans still kind of get on his back, and because he's like that creative maverick, isn't he? He's a bit different to the other players, and what obviously BBM's done, I think, which so well. Is give him his head, give him his chance to run, but not everyone gets him, do they?
Yeah, I just said he does. No. I just said there are a few City sort of still give him a bit of stick for. Sometimes I've been critical of him, last season I was critical of him, but I think this season he has stepped up the mark. 100% he has. Mick, you know what? As well, I think. Yeah, it's cutting up. The thing is cutting up. I can't. I don't know what it's like with you, but I can't. I can hear Tony now and again. I can hear Steve now and again. I can hear Ali now and again. So apologies if I'm quiet.
That's all right.
No, mine was cutting up as well. The criticism of Ruben, I think it stems from everyone being so disappointed that we know what he's got in his locker.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't been given us any consistency until this season. Now he's got a proper coaching team, hasn't he? Like Bellamy has started finally to trust him. It'd be massive. It's massive for the kid,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny, Alan, isn't it, with Ruben, because he's 6'5" or whatever he is. He's a giant for the position that he plays. But when he went down, as soon as he went down, I thought this must be serious, because he just doesn't go down, does he? He's not one of those players. You knew it had to be something fairly nasty. Someone was saying the possibility might be the ACL, which we obviously got to hope it isn't.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it was suggested it's ligament damage, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. How it'll depend on how significant that ligament damage is, obviously. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, he's kind of when he started coming through, I think he was still growing, even though he was an adult.
That's right. Yeah.
And he was, you could see he was kind of he was kind of growing into his own body almost. And sometimes he'd play. He'd try and do things that his body just wouldn't let him do just yet. But he seems to have grown into that body now. And as you say, he's a big, strong lad who, when he gets up and running, he's a really powerful athlete. So, yeah, and just going back to the earlier points, I think we, as City fans, we are critical of him at times, just because we have seen flashes of what is there. And I think, it's 50p in the meter. We've seen those flashes of brilliance from him, And we still think, oh, he's a young lad, he's a young kid who's just going to get better and better and better every year. And I think when he doesn't get better, or when he hasn't got better under those, Rita and Bullet before that in the Championship, you kind of feel like, oh, he's wasting these years. When are we going to see the best out of him? And before you know it, he's going to be no longer considered a young player, and going to has he reached his potential then? So I think that's why people are critical of him, but. It's such a shame, because I think, if he could have stayed fit all season, had a run in the team, Brian Barry Murphy clearly trusts him, and the team is set up, it seems, to sort of be built around him and what he can do. It could have really launched him and given him confidence. So really, just for his sake as well, and not just for the team, but I really hope that it's not a really long-term injury and he can still play this season, just so he can start to reach his potential.
And what did you make of the injury itself, Mickey, when it happened? Because was for you, was that a foul challenge? Was that a badly timed challenge? Was it accidental? What do you think? When he was taken out,
can you hear you?
I just think it was part of the game, wasn't it? Can you hear me? No.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Nobody can hear me. No.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going back to Ruben as well. And I think with Wales as well, we got this playoff, and we got 5 players now who are in contention of getting into that World Cup squad if we get there. And that's all good for us, because these players are going to be playing out their skin now, isn't it? Just basically to try to get into Bellamy's plans for next summer. And I think it's all good. When's the last time we had 5 players in contention for the Wales team?
Good question.
Incredible. Incredible.
And
that goes down to the management team, obviously, of City.
Yeah. The good thing about Ruben this year, you've seen so many lovely comments from opposition fans after most games he plays. I can name so many, like when we went to Wimbledon and Wrexham, and there's Burnley, I think it was, like, people genuinely waxing lyrical, saying, who is this Colwell boy? But we knew we had that in his locker, didn't we? We knew we had that potential, and now hopefully he's fulfilling it. And like Ali just said, it's such a shame he's got injured. But I didn't hear it, but one of the boys next to me, even though, we're probably about 50 feet away from it, said he heard the snap. In the tackle, and but hopefully that is a ligament there. And somebody else mentioned on the bus later on that they actually heard something in the tackle. It was no malicious, was it? We weren't even a booking, but it was such a shame. But I don't know why the medical team had him to come back on.
Seems strange.
You'd think if he snapped it though, he would have been stretchered off rather than walked off. So that, I don't think that is what they heard. Hopefully, it's not.
Hopefully, and I said after the game, he come on the pitch, even though he had a boot on and he was on crutches. I thought if it was serious, he would have been in hospital, wouldn't he? So that's what but we'll wait and see for the results. Hopefully, better than we anticipated.
So going back to him being out, Tony, we'll now see how much we need Ruben Colwell. For all the kind of the naysayers for Ruben.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
because we've got a big debate now, and haven't we? I mean, who would you? I like the Kellyman. I quite like the Kellyman idea. Well, there's also a shout for Robinson, isn't there? Who would you play in that number 10? It's a pivotal kind of playmaker role, isn't it?
Yeah. But like I said, it's nice to have the choice of them two, and really Kellyman and Robertson. I think Turnbull hasn't really showed anything this season to me. Once or twice, but I know there's a better footballer in there than what we've seen from David Turnbull. But Kellyman, he's starting to get match fit. You can see how much talent he got when when he's in full flow, and he can just glide past players, can't he? it'd be interesting to see him as a 10. But like I said earlier, I thought Alex Robertson, when he came on Saturday, I thought that'd give us a real extra dimension. We were much better in possession. You know, he oozes quality, and he give us that little extra. He give us that extra momentum back when Northampton, you know, they were. We were under the cosh a little bit, weren't we? When Ruben went off, and they forced a few corners, and then the second half, you know, they got that equaliser, which was probably
completely gone.
Yeah, we got that equaliser that was probably deserved, but I thought Alex Robertson gave us that nice little bit of momentum back, which he can do.
Yeah, which he can. And do you think, Tony, with him, do you think he's like his kind of nose put out of a joint? It looked like he had a move to a championship club, you know, kind of lined up, and it didn't happen, and he picked up that injury. Do you think he was just a bit miffed? And do you think maybe because we're playing such nice football, you'd think, wouldn't you, it'd be a joy to play on a side like that, you know?
Yeah, possibly. There were strong rumours, weren't there, that he was pouting because of the deal fell through. But we don't know, don't we? We don't really know. And but I think Murphy's got some decent man management skills to get him back focused, you know. And well, if he can come on and show us what he did on Saturday, I was really impressed with him.
And Aled, I was thinking the same thing. Reece makes a point here, but the other player I was thinking of exactly for the reason that he says here, gives Callum Robinson the chance. You know, gives us the chance to play those two together. When he plays in the 9, he plays as the false 9, might suit him in the 10. We've seen it already against Orient, late runs into the box, picking up key pockets of space. I mean, there's a player. There's a classy League One goal-scoring player right there, isn't there? What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I wouldn't be against trying that. Definitely, I really rate Callum Robinson as a player. I think in the last few years as well, his hold-up play has improved. I know he's not that type of forward, but you know, you think 2 or 3 years before, you'd play a ball into him, he'd get knocked off it every time, and then he seemed to really work on that bit of his game. I think Mickey's having a few problems still, but I wouldn't be against trying it. I think he will go with Turnbull just because he's a more tried and tested player in that position, and I think he likes he likes that kind of. Turnbull's, you know, he's solid, isn't he? He gives you a sort of 6 out of 10 every week, not too much more. As I said the last time I was on, the jury's still out on him for me.
That's quite interesting. I'll bring Mickey back in, and hopefully it'll be all right. That's quite interesting because David Turnbull has been, you know, probably pretty well of the higher profile players. I would say quite likely the most disappointing so far. So maybe, you know, this chance to play in a slightly more advanced role and try something different, maybe that could be the chance he needs, and maybe he'll make the most of it and he push on, because there was a stage with Celtic when he was pretty well scoring goals for fun, you know, from midfield. So maybe that's not a bad shout.
Yeah, that's what I think, you know, Brian Murray Murphy will go with. I think that's the more tried and tested option for him. And he probably rates, you know, David Turnbull's experience in that young team. You know, there's a lot to be said for his experience and his, you know, he's obviously been at Celtic and he's had a good career up until that point. And amongst a really young team, you need that experience in the team. And to be fair, Callum Robinson's also extremely experienced as well as a professional. So yeah, I think he'll go with Turnbull, but I definitely wouldn't be against Callum Robinson in that position. I think that's got a higher ceiling. If you're talking in that sense, you know, Callum Robinson's a goal scorer, definitely more than Turnbull. Yeah. And if you're looking to replace, you know, Ruben's goals and his quality and his potential to assist and create goals, I think Callum Robinson probably brings you more than Turnbull does.
Do you think Robinson is unlucky, Tony, that he's, you know, he's kind of become the second choice? to Youssef, and Youssef's getting the call all the time, and because he's a goal scoring striker, isn't he?
Definitely. I think it's because of the structure Murphy wants to go with. He doesn't. We could play a 4-3-3 or an old-fashioned 4-4-2, but he doesn't like to go that direct, does he? Which is bearing fruit at the moment. But I'd like to see, like I thought Isaac on Saturday. I'd love to see him work alongside Salek, as a two, or as a two, like an Ernie Thorne type of partnership, which was I see them both very similar type of players, but at the moment he's still trying to work out his best pattern, but like you said, Callum Robertson, he probably feels a little bit aggrieved that he's not a regular. Yeah, but he's in good company on that bench at the moment, and you know what I mean, because
it's a pretty strong bench, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think we've had it for a long time, have we? So we'll enjoy it while we can.
Mickey, I don't know whether you can hear us at the moment.
Yes, I can.
Hey, okay. Sorry, Mickey. Sorry about that. It does happen. It just happens with tech.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
We were talking about Callum Robinson, and let's moving on to Youssef Salek then, since we got you here again. Is one thing I noticed with him is, and again on the weekend, it's just to me, the amount of battering he takes from the other teams, and because he's a big lad, I don't know, because he puts it about a bit. He's quite physical. They seem to get away with murder against him, don't they? Against Salek, Mickey.
Sorry, something's happened.
I said about Youssef getting a bit of a battering wherever he goes, not getting protected by referees.
The referees in this league are definitely of a lower standard, isn't they? Obviously they are, because it's League One, but he's had no protection whatsoever to the games I've seen him play, especially the away games. He's getting battered, he is. But I heard Tony mentioning Robert Earnshaw just now. I see he was in the Nottingham Forest then yesterday up in Liverpool on Saturday. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, he's celebrating with Forest. I did comment on it.
Yeah, he needs to get back to his roots there, doesn't he?
Well, somebody was talking about Tony the other day. Was about his accent. Now his accent fluctuates.
Yeah.
But it has been all over the place, hasn't it? So Ernie's a total legend to me, anyway.
It's like Jess Fishlock. Her accent is strange as well. If you ever hear, obviously she plays over in America, but it's neither here nor there. It's a bit like Earnshaw.
When he came back and when he first done a bit of analysis on his accent, everybody was commenting there. I think I said Ernie's come back. He was from Bedwas, but he now sounds like he was from Boardwalk Empire. So,
hell of a character there. Mickey, do you think he's a kind of player who would have thrived in this kind of squad, this kind of team, at this kind of level?
Yeah, I think so. Especially with Salek, playing off Salek, I think he would have. Just a question. On Saturday, where was Lawler?
I think he was rested. I think because of the Wales game.
Was he really?
I think so. That was my guess. Big my guess.
Yeah. Just going back to Saturday, I was in in a pub before the game, talking to a few sort of old school Northampton fans from the 1970s, and John Buchanan came up.
Of course.
Yeah, he played for both clubs. He did. He played. I didn't realise that he went. He obviously we signed him from Northampton. But after he left us in '81, he went to sign back for Northampton Town. I think he played about over 150 games for him. I didn't realise that. Yeah. And then he went he ended up in Ross County managing them.
In that clubhouse we were in, Mick, there was a lot of interesting photos and memorabilia on it of Northampton over the years. They've been at the same level, haven't they, since since the beginning of time, but it was still good to see, you know, when photos they won at Anfield in the League Cup. There was Ronaldo on that pitch playing against them for United in the League Cup. And you know, obviously they had the semi-final in 97 when they'd done us over 2 legs, and then they beat Swansea in the final. So, you know, they've got a, you know, it was good to see they have got a little bit of a, you know, a heritage there, haven't they?
It was bugging me on Saturday because I mentioned to a couple of lads that I'm sure Ian Atkins, the link again, because Ian Atkins managed us, didn't he? I think he was assistant manager with Corky.
Okay,
Alan Cork. Yeah, and I googled it today and he was. I think he was only here for about 5 or 6 months, Ian Atkins.
Right.
And he obviously, I think he was managing Northampton when he beat us the semi-final, wasn't he? If I remember rightly.
Good shout. Can you remember going back further as well? They before they moved to the Sixfields, they were at the county ground one, and
that's right. Like
half a football pitch. The football pitch was on the first half, and the cricket was virtually a touchline over.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But,
I think he played him on a Sunday afternoon up there. I think it was early kick-off. It was, and we're going up on a Sunday.
Yeah, I think that was the year they beat us 4-1 and they won the league. I think, yeah,
they did.
Yeah, but they
did.
Can I just ask the two of you something? Because you've known each other a long time. You've been following City a long time. It was quite interesting earlier, Tony, when you were saying about the different experience these days of traveling and how that kind of the cultural experience, I suppose, of going away with City has changed.
Obviously, it's a lot. It's nice and more peaceful now. When you get into your 40s and 50s, you want a little bit more relaxing time. And both Mickey and I are members of Vince Arms Supporters Club now, and you know, it's first rate hospitality, first rate travel, and I've taken my son for quite a long time now, and there's quite a few from my valley that go on the bus from Pontypridd, and Mickey could tell you there was quite a few from the Rhondda there Saturday, and it's a nice way to travel.
Do you know what? It is, and do you know what, Steve? I get a bigger buzz now. As I say, going away and going to the pubs for the game and chatting to the home fans and sort of reminiscing and talking about old players who play for both clubs, and you know what I mean, and talking about games and talking about grounds and music and fashion. You know, it's brilliant. It is. I really enjoy it.
As we were saying, our mate and a friend of the show, Dave Jones, he's been going regularly as well now with the Supporters Club, and it's changed his whole philosophy on away trips, which is great, you know. It's you know, he says he has a relax, he can do a little bit of work that he wouldn't necessarily get done on a private bus, you know, with a load of lads. So so it's all good.
Yeah. It's funny, but I would say it is still great what everyone is doing. You know, you got the Rhondda bus, brilliant, Cunham Valley bus. Because I know Jumbo's not well at the moment, is he? So a big shout out to Keith if he's listening. Get with us soon, please.
Fair play, yeah. Get well soon, Keith, and he does so much for them boys. Keith does in the Mount, and
I know he does.
Aberdeen, Merthyr, and I think he's got quite a lot of members in Merthyr. I've travelled with Keith in the past, but I know
you've got Mikey Spear running a bus. You know, we've got the Barry boys. I take my hats off to them. Honestly, brilliant, and the amount of work they do. You know,
and it's good. But this season, you know, we've sold out nearly every weekend, haven't we? And these boys, you know, who are still going, they're as loyal as they've ever been. Like we spoke about it before, but you know, when we went to Port Vale earlier this season, we took like 2,500, something like that. We would never have taken that to Stoke because people got fed up of going to the same places over the last 15, 20 years. Yeah. And it's nice to have a little variety, you know, and we got Stevenage now in a couple of weeks, a midweek game. It's a midweek game, but tickets will be like gold dust because nobody's been there. Yeah. Not many people have been there before, so, yeah.
We haven't played them, have we? Have you played them before?
I've never been to Stevenage, but I'm not sure if we've had a fixture with them.
I can't remember one.
Yeah.
No,
I can't.
Yeah, because the only grounds I had to do this season was them and Wimbledon. I've been to the old Plough Lane years ago, now with City, but obviously Wimbledon's new ground and Stevenage, which are the two. Leighton Orient, it's still a Brisbane Road, isn't it? But I think they've just
Yeah.
they just upgraded it, haven't they? So,
Can I give you a little story about that Brisbane Road? 1985, we played Gillingham away in the FA Cup.
yeah.
So we all got there, and the game got called off, postponed. So we all ended up at the Orient against West Brom, and let's just say West Brom and the Orient fans weren't happy to see us there.
Was that the one? It was the same day. It was a load of Cardiff went to Fulham, and it was on.
Correct.
It was on match of the day.
It was on the big match on a Sunday. Lee Chapman played the Sheffield
It was a
Wednesday.
load of Cardiff in the corner, wasn't it? That's right. Yeah.
That's it. You see all the Welsh Dragons there. I think there's a few added glass buses there. There was. I think Mikey Arms was there from Torre Revel. There's a few lads in the corner. But
Yeah.
you could have done that then, Dave. You can't do that now. You never do that now.
No,
Well,
done that a few
can I just
times.
I just want to try and bring Aled into the conversation, but from what you're talking about, because it's really interesting. So, Aled, you might, I'm guessing he's the youngest person in the room. I just put that out there as a wild guess.
Not that young.
So Mickey and Tony, I've been following City for a long time, and it was a fairly lively experience at one time following Cardiff City away. In a nutshell, and maybe we hand over to Aled for his perspective. Like when I go to the home games now, case League One, it's totally, and it always maybe should have been. It's so acceptable now. You want to around the City Stadium. There's people in away shirts while I'm walking. I chat with loads of them. It's just so different, Tony, isn't it, from how it was? Yeah,
100%. Yeah, it's there's positives and there's negatives. I think it's positives that more families have been introduced to the game over the last couple of decades. But we know there's a lot of negative things at the Cardiff City Stadium that have been brought up, and it's just like the overbearing steward sometimes, and it's difficult. It's been difficult over the years to get an atmosphere going. But I suppose now is when you're playing well and you're top of the league, things change. But there's been questions to be asked. It's like the atmosphere. I can't really compare it, but load of us just come back from Argentina, and we see some of the games out there, and it's ridiculous. You can't even take like in this country, you can't even they wouldn't even let you take your bottle of pop in, will they? But out there, fireworks, drums, T4, it was ridiculous. But I'm not being fair really to any team in the UK, because what I saw out there was on a different level to anything we can we'd be able to experience.
Yeah, and it brings a whole new meaning to the word bubble trip, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Aled, of course, you're what are you in your 20s?
Yeah, just clinging on. 28.
Yeah. So you've been following the city since you were a kid, and in your case, I suppose, mostly in the new stadium. Is that your main experience?
Yeah. Only went to Ninian Park once, I think.
Right.
My dad's a United fan and more of a rugby fan. So
I'm sorry.
And an ex-copper, so he was obviously
okay.
His perception of football fans and Cardiff fans wasn't the best, from a copper's perspective. But so he took me there he took me to Ninian Park when I had some good exam results or something, or test results in school. So it was, it has been mostly in the new stadium. Sorry, go on.
Do you find it, I mean, I don't know, because you haven't really got anything to compare it to. Maybe Mickey will come in on the back of this, but do you find it kind of like a sort of controlled and quite a sanitized experience these days? Football kind of wherever you go, sort of thing?
Yeah, it can be. My perspective's different a little bit as well. I used to go, so when I used to live down in Sussex, I'd go to the away games, around that area, London and the southeast, and usually go on my own because obviously there's hardly any City fans around there. So I'd get a train or drive or whatever. So I haven't had that experience of the buses and how that's changed and stuff. But yeah, I think you do see like fans mix in, which is a good thing. I think as you boys were mentioning, going to the away grounds, having a chat with the home fans, reminiscing about old players and stories and whatever. That's what it's about. It's not not about fighting and being stupid or whatever. I'm all for the band. I love having a bit of banter in the ground and having a bit of back and forth and singing and all that, and that's all part of it. And I think you do get that. Remember going to QPR away. When was that? 2018-ish. Ruben scored that free kick. I think we won the game 2-1. And it, coming out of the ground there, Loftus Road, walking past their pub, it was lively. It was getting the game had been a lively game. It'd been giving it back and forth, and then the police had a big line, had to come with their horses and a big line, and it was kind of like it is still there a little bit, and you want a little bit of that, but you obviously don't want people getting hurt and for it to be over the top and stuff. So
that game at QPR, I'm sure. Look, who's the guy who scored an hat-trick for Arsenal yesterday? Eddie? I'm sure he played in that game against us. I'm sure he did.
Yeah, I think he did.
He was great as well. He was fantastic again.
Yeah.
That's right. There's a question there, Tony, from Halftime Oranges. Tony, would you like to see the family end moved and home fans be closer like the old Grange end? I think definitely, but we've had this conversation over the years, and I think the club have made excuses to say that it would cost an absolute fortune to have extra police and stewards at the ground, but quite a lot of our games over the years in the new stadium. I still go to the new stadium, but I've seen comments saying it may as well be a neutral ground, because of the atmosphere, and when I think things like that would give the fans a lift. But as Ali just said, it doesn't have to be about fighting or rivalry. It's just to give that 12th man, that extra bit of edge. And we go to places, when we go to Swansea, they're right on top of us, and they left and right.
Yeah.
So but they haven't got that. They haven't got that at Cardiff, whereas if they moved a lot of the older fans and the singers into that family section, then it would definitely create a much better atmosphere, which would lift the whole ground. But the powers that be tell us it can't happen because of finances. So we'll have to wait on that one.
Well, with Mickey being on, you see the comment from Reese there. I just don't know whether you want to respond to that, Mickey. Does that bring back any memories? He says, I'm 34. I'll read it for you. I'm 34. I used to sneak into Ninian Park at 13, telling my mother I was over a mate's. The Grange end on my own. Used to ask anyone with Burberry on to buy me a pint at halftime.
Do you know what? We used to sneak in. We used to sneak into the Bob Bank. Around about 1980, 81. We used to go up by Midland, run across the railway tracks. We didn't get killed, honestly. And then climb up the back of the Bob Bank, and then just hide until everyone started coming in, and then I've been done on loads of occasions. I remember. Part and parcel of growing up in the late 1970s, early 80s. It was
with no money on it, I remember doing that. I remember doing that. I think we had Ed Vale at Ninian Park on a Saturday afternoon. I think we beat them 9-0. I think it was. And a few of us didn't have much money, so we snuck, like you said, snuck behind the Bob Bank from the station. Loads of stuff went on like that day, and even the club were doing it really, because sometimes we get pretty big crowds, and then you'd hear the official attendance being like 6,000-7,000. You'd be like, no chance. There's more than that on the Bob Bank.
I know. There's incredible.
Going back to current days, because I love talking to you about those days, but and I want to talk a little bit about Tony about it with his book as well, and the books. But Mickey Chambers, he's I suppose he's going to be he's the captain in Ruben's absence, isn't he? So maybe he'll play more. But he came in and he's done it a couple of times this season. He's come in and he did well, didn't he? So there is a player there. Maybe we want to make more of.
He does. I'm sometimes critical of him as well, because he does slow the game down. Sometimes when we're moving forward, and he might come back to him, and he just, instead of passing it out like a one time, he'll slow it down. But I do like Chambers. I think he's an intelligent player. But as I said, we've got the added comfort of Fish. I think I love Fish. I think he's quality, absolute quality.
Yeah.
And along with Laura as well. I think we're blessed at the moment with some quality in our area.
Oh, definitely. Like you said about Lola, Mick. The rave reviews he's been getting the last few weeks with his Welsh appearances. Not just from Welsh fans. I read. Decent analysis from people all over the country saying that he could be a star in the making, and he doesn't even get a game for us, really, is he?
No.
He's at the moment, Chambers and Fish, they've got a decent partnership, which stems from Wrexham, which was wonderful. And it just I think with Cardiff this season, like when we went to Wrexham and Burnley, we made a lot of new friends with our possession game and pressing, and how well we played. But Murphy is he's needed a little bit more time in League One, because when you're playing against your Burtons and your teams like that, it's difficult. It's difficult to break them down when they play 10 in the ball. But that's something he's learning. Like Saturday, Northampton, they were, an ugly, direct side that we've come up against a few of them this season. But like I said, when we played against like Burnley and Wrexham, and they've come at us, we've looked so good, haven't we? They call it transition now, don't they? It's a new word for counter-attack, but we've been outstanding, and I think hopefully Chelsea will. Chelsea ain't going to come here, are they?
We're going to come on. We're going to come on to Chelsea in a minute, but I just want to bring Al in a bit before we go on to that. So I mean a great example of a counter-attacking goal. I mean that Chris Willett goal, what a goal that was, by the way, what a great goal that was. And that was us on the break. We were under the cosh for a bit, so it shows we can do it. But I wanted to say as well about Joel Bagan, because there was a point in the game, Alec, when Joel went down with a knock, and again I think there's another one. We can't really afford to lose him at the moment, can we? And what a good player he's becoming.
Was that Bagan or Colwell?
Yeah, Joel Bagan.
Joel Bagan. Yeah. He's because Colwell had a cut, didn't he, as well? So I thought
he did. Yeah.
Absolutely. Bagan's been outstanding, and we talked about Capaccio earlier and raved about him, but I think Joel Bagan's probably gone under the radar just because he's been. He's not one of these, fresh academy kids that's been put on the scene this year. He's been, in and out of the side over the last few years, a bit of a bit part player. He's been a bit inconsistent, but he's been, when we've needed to find that rock at left back, he really has been. And, going back to the centre half partnership, I think we're a much better defence when Lawler's in there. I think that's why on Saturday, the conditions were difficult, and then after Ruben's injury, they gained a bit of momentum, and we seemed to be a bit deflated from that. And I think that's why some of the defending was pretty questionable on Saturday, because Lawler wasn't there. Lawler's a calming influence. Every time he's on the ball,
he looks so cool, didn't he?
Yeah, he's calm, he's collected, he does his defensive work well. Really calm, and so I think
he looked great for Wales, didn't he?
Sorry?
He looks so good for Wales. He looks so comfortable playing for Wales.
Yeah, exactly. Bellamy's seeing that now as well. I think he's got he's trusting him in that. And I think our best centre half pairing is Fish and Lawler. And so I don't know unless you play him in midfield, I don't know where Chambers gets in for me anyway.
I think midfield might be the answer if we're going to give him more game time. Because he could play that holding role, and he's done it before. He's good there too. A comment there. I'll bring Mickey in because it mentions a couple of players we want to talk about. But never supporting any other team in City, even as a school kid, kicking a can around the yard. Everyone else was Lineker or Gaza. I was Cohen Griffith or Carl Dale. So that's quite nice. And he says, I wonder if this is why also our economy is so strong. Local lads only ever support City. It's always great, isn't it, Mickey, to have a few, local lads in there. It makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I just said it's like the last couple of seasons, it's just been stale. We've had players we've been signing players who don't really want to be here. They're just going for the motions. But now, I know it's been said before, but it's a breath of fresh air at the moment. And I do believe us getting relegated last season has probably done us a favour, because
if we go up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I just said, up until Christmas and the Christmas period will show where we are. I think if we are sort of serious contenders,
we need a bit of a run. That's for sure.
How close it is,
Yeah, very close. All the way down to like 9th or something, just like a couple of points in it. So
this is a huge period coming up, isn't it? These next when we got was it capital. 7 out of 9 home games up until the end of 2025, I think, something like that. We've got, as you say, Steve, we've got to put a run together and really, we've got that game in hand as well over most of the teams around us. So we've really got to establish ourselves at least in the top 2 anyway of this league now.
Yeah, we haven't even pulled away from the playoffs really yet. No. We haven't even really pulled away that. I've got to ask Mickey and Tony this. Well, sorry, Tony. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think is a good chance that we can get some momentum. Can we going up getting into the new year? Obviously, Caldwell is going to be a big blow. But we should have enough about us to start picking up some vital points at home now.
Did I hear Tanner's coming back? Did I? Was
Tanner coming back? He's on the way. Yeah, he's not far off.
Yeah. He said he's on the grass, so which is good. I reckon he should be back by probably mid-January, the end of January. But we're talking about the 21s and the academy. You probably read it. It was an article on Darren Pearce the other day, and I know he's taking a bit of stick because of the results, but he said he hasn't been concerned about the results. It's getting his boys into the first team, and now he's got a coaching setup above him with Barry Murphy and that. When it's coming to fruition now, and the good thing, what he said, he's just done his pro license. With Tom Ramsett, and there was a few others on that list, like that new manager Swansea, again from Portugal. He's on the pro license list, the same as and Pearce. But it's good that Darren Pearce said that there's a production line coming through as well from the 15s, from the 17s, from the 19s. Yep. And this is what we've never had before. So this is going to be really nice. And once they get that academy status back up and running, which I'm sure we will one day, Cadbury
we'll be in a great position then, won't we?
I think so. And because we're not getting which hasn't happened for a while actually, because we haven't lost anyone to United or City for about a year, have we? So
Tony,
but all looking good.
I just my worry as well, obviously, is the keeper situation where if we lose him, because he's been how many points have he saved us this season? He made probably 2 class saves on Saturday, which kept us in the game. So Tony, only quicker, what happened with why did who got booked? Was it the keeper, the sub keeper got booked on Saturday for doing something?
Yes.
Where was this at the end of the game?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, but 5 minutes before the end of the game, I think something happened.
Okay. I don't think I noticed that, but you mentioned Trot. Definitely. Is it a close? I know that is a close we can buy him, but I don't know. Is it as soon as January?
I think we have to wait. I think it's dependent on what division we're in. I think.
I think it is if we go up. I think it is. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
We've only got a couple of minutes, and there's a couple of things I really wanted to talk about, particularly with Mickey and Tony on the show. So once upon a time, before Alad was around the place, there was a certain match against some team called Chelsea at Ninian Park, and it ended up as a 3-3 draw. And for some reason, I seem to remember the trip home after the game as much as I do the match itself. Nicky, any thoughts on the return of Chelsea?
I'm sure I read today. There's only 200 tickets left.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm sure I read that online somewhere.
There's quite a few in the new stand apparently, but I think we're heading towards a 30,000 gate, which will be good.
Yeah.
Going back to the game, the Steve mentions in '84, Mick, wasn't it?
Yeah, April '84, I think it was. No, it's March. Sorry, March 31st. I think it was '84.
My mother used to take me to the occasional game, and when I were just before I was old enough to go on my own with the boys. Chelsea that day, they bought about 10,000. Mike, was there?
Yeah, I think the crowd was about 11,000-12,000. They had about 7,000-8,000 there. They did,
and 6,000 of them wanted to fight Steve. So
yeah. That's all we had.
There was a percentage of headhunters down that day.
We had the Bob Bank, and it was just. I think we were 3-1 up.
Game you were coming round, weren't I?
Yeah, and it was crazy. The referee bottled it that day. He gave a penalty in the last kick of the game.
Most of them Chelsea, some of them will be down, but most of them in their 60s and 70s now, and most of them they're in Thailand with their Thai brides. So
my mate, he's a Chelsea fan from London, and he's like a bit of a plastic hooligan almost, but he said as soon as that draw was made, he said his group chat was buzzing. They were all buzzing about it. There's still that that feeling towards Cardiff from them. So that's
it's a shame they only got a small allocation. haven't they? They only give them the 3,000 in the corner.
Did they?
It would have been better on a night game to give them the all of the family stand, but I'm sure Heathrow had a say in what allocation they were going to get.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think we'll give them a game on the pitch. I think we'll give them a game. I think with a 30,000 crowd, like the only, I think that the ground will be standing up. There'll be, if it'd be anything like that Swansea game on a Saturday night a couple of years ago, where we had 30,000 and and the atmosphere was electric, I think we'll give them a good game.
Have Chelsea got two teams? Do they play one in the League Cup and one?
I think so.
I'm sure Cole Palmer is out, isn't he, for a couple more weeks again, isn't he? So that's a positive for us.
Yeah.
Well,
obviously they'll be heavy favourites, but they won't want to come to a wet, cold South Wales just before Christmas. No. Like you said, 30,000 breathing down their necks. They're the pampered generation of players, isn't it? It'll be a little bit alien to them. We've seen in the past, haven't we, in Ninian Park?
Man City.
Yeah.
Man City in the FA Cup. For one, Leeds United in the FA Cup.
Yeah, and as the old cliche says, form goes out the window, doesn't it, on occasions like this?
Yeah, of course it does.
Well, I couldn't not talk about that. We're overrunning now, but I couldn't not talk about that. It's one of the most memorable games I ever had as a City fan, that's for sure.
3-0 up as well, weren't we?
Yeah, 3-0 up, and then 3, and then like Nigel Blue said, that penalty. I'm pretty sure Mickey's right. I think the referee just said, "Give him a draw. Let's get out of here." It was mad.
Mickey, remember? Nobody ever took the ball bank, and they tried that day and they failed. I know that's.
They did, yeah, they did. They did, yeah. I can't say anymore.
We keep that one under wraps, Steve.
Was it Craig Pawson last time he played him in the Premier League who robbed us? And
way offside, more or less relegated us.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so there's something on that game for sure. I could talk to Mickey and Tony about those days all show, but we've got a fair bit of it in. Obviously, your book Magnetic's going well, Tony. I was going to talk to you about that, but it's still available, I guess, if anybody wants to get a copy.
Yeah. Give us a shout then. Yeah, it's been published almost 2 years now, but yeah, it's still going well. We've sold to maybe 30 different countries, and we've got a collaboration at the moment with South Wales fashion brand Cambrensis. So we've got a few things in the pipeline. It's still exciting. I'd still like to keep creative, and keep on top of things.
And your Soul Crew book is still available, is it?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I haven't had a copy of that for years, to be honest with you, but I know
collectors.
I sometimes get royalties from the electronic side of it. Yeah. But I think most copies were sold out. The ones that are printed, So you can still it's still readily available on what's it called now, the Amazon thing. You can
Kindle, is it?
Yeah. Kindle, that's the one, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we still sell a little bit on Kindle, but
nice little stocking filler, isn't it?
Hopefully, yeah. Like Magnetic, we'll go do a little promo push now we get into December, and thanks for mentioning it. Give it a plug.
Sorry, I meant to mention it earlier, but when the two of you are on, it's great you know each other so well.
No, me and Mick would bend your ear all night on nostalgia, won't we, man?
We'll get Dave on. We'll get Dave on sometime. We'll have the Holy Trinity. We just whiz around, particularly kind of what Tony said earlier. I think blows it all out of the water, really, because so many home games. We've got this run of games. It's not about a single game, it's about a run of games, I think. But looking at Mansfield on the weekend, Mickey, do you want to give us a prediction?
3-1 City.
Okay. Aled?
I'll go 2-0.
Okay. Tony?
I was going to say 3-1. Am I allowed to say 3-1 as well?
Yeah, go on.
Of course you are.
Yeah. 3-1.
Another 2-goal victory. That'd be lovely. Start to pull away then.
I know Mansfield, they put a bit of money into them, I don't know, a year or two ago, but they seem to have stalled.
Yeah, we should be right. Well, thanks for a great show. Thanks for being on, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/Ace Podcast Nation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Across those 7 days, we're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans for fans. Balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy what we do, then join the community today and support what we are doing as we help to keep Cardiff City World flying high.